You've been pulling weeds out of your garden and throwing them in the bin, right? What if I told you those weeds you've been throwing away are actually liquid gold for your plants? The nettle patch that you hate, the dandelions taking over your lawn, they can make a fertiliser so powerful that your tomatoes will literally explode with growth. And it costs you absolutely nothing. Today I'm showing you how to turn your worst weeds into the best plant food you've ever used. I've been making fertilisers from the weeds in my garden for years, and honestly, my plants have never been healthier. In the next few minutes, I'll show you which weeds work best, how to make this magical liquid, and why it's so powerful, and how to use it without burning your plants. So what exactly is weed tea? It's when you take fresh weeds, stick them in water, and let nature do its thing. There are two main ways to do this. First, there's fermented weed tea. This is where you let weeds break down in water for a few weeks and it gets really, really smelly, but incredibly powerful. Then there's steeped weed tea, which is like making a cup of tea. You soak the weeds for 1 or 2 days and use it straight away. It's much less smelly, a lot quicker, but not quite as strong. Both of these methods pull nutrients out of the weeds and turn them into liquid fertiliser. Your plants can drink them up instantly. Nutrients in liquid form get absorbed way faster than nutrients in compost. Your plants get an instant boost rather than waiting weeks for compost to break down. Let's talk about how this actually works. Weeds are basically nature's miners. And why are weeds so hard to kill? Well, that's because they've got massive root systems that go deep down into the soil, way deeper than your garden plants. These roots are pulling up nutrients from depths your tomatoes could never reach. Stinging nettles are packed with nitrogen, iron, magnesium, and loads of tiny minerals. Dandelions have roots that go down 30 centimetres or more, pulling up potassium, calcium, and iron from deep underground. Comfrey is the absolute king. It's loaded with potassium and something called allantoin, which helps plants grow faster and also heals damage. Scientists have actually found that comfrey has about as much potassium as the expensive store-bought fertiliser. When you put these weeds into water and let them ferment, you're breaking down their cells and releasing all of these nutrients into the liquid. The fermentation also creates helpful bacteria that makes it easier for your plants to absorb all of that goodness. So which weeds should you actually use? Number 1, stinging nettles. These are packed with nitrogen for big green growth. They sting when you touch them, so make sure to wear gloves, but they grow in big patches in damp, shady spots. Number 2, comfrey. They have massive leaves, purple or white flowers, and they are loaded with potassium. Perfect for tomatoes, peppers, really anything that makes fruit. Number 3, dandelions. Yellow flowers, fluffy seed heads. The whole plant is useful, high in potassium and packed with minerals. Their deep roots pull up nutrients from way down below in the ground. Number 4, chickweed. They have little white flowers, and it spreads everywhere. High in nitrogen and trace minerals. Number 5, clover. 3 leaves, or 4 if you're lucky. They have white or red flowers. Clover takes nitrogen from the air and stores it in its roots. It's actually creating fertiliser out of thin air. It's amazing. Now there are some weeds that you should avoid. Do not use anything poisonous, and avoid using anything that's been sprayed with weed killer already. Focus on these 5 to start with, and you'll be absolutely fine. Let's make some fermented weed tea. I'm warning you now, it is going to smell horrible, but it's worth it. You need a big bucket with a lid. I use a 20-litre bucket. Don't seal it up completely tight because fermentation makes gases that need to escape. Then you need your weeds and some water. Step 1. Fill your bucket about half to 2/3 with fresh weeds. Chop them up a bit to speed things up. Mix different weeds in. I usually add whatever I have cleared away in my garden at the time, which is mainly comfrey and dandelions. Step 2. Fill the bucket with water. Rainwater is the best to use, but if you've only got tap water, it's absolutely fine, but just make sure you let it sit out on its own for a day. You want the weeds completely submerged under the water, so use a brick or a weight on top to keep them under if you need to. Step 3. Cover it loosely and put it somewhere far away from your house. Trust me, you'll want to keep the smell isolated. In about 3 days, it's going to reek. Step 4. Give it a stir every few days. In warmer weather, it can start to be used in 2 to 3 weeks, but in cooler weather, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. But you'll know when it's ready because it will stop bubbling. The weeds have broken down into mush and the liquid is dark brown or black in colour. It smells like something has died. That is normal. Do this in summer when you can keep it far away from the house. I actually keep mine behind the greenhouse. One tip I've found to help with the smell. I found the longer you leave it to ferment, the smell starts to subside. If you can make this well ahead of time, say at least 6 months plus away, by the time you actually come to use it, the smell will almost be non-existent. But the trick here is leaving it as long as possible for all of the solids to completely break down. If you can't handle the smell or need fertiliser quickly, there's a quicker version, steeped weed tea. It's the same setup, bucket, weeds and water, but instead of weeks, you're steeping it like a cup of tea. Fill your bucket about a quarter full with fresh weeds, add water to fill the bucket, give it a stir, cover it and leave it for 1 to 2 days. After 2 days, take out the weeds and use the liquid. Now this doesn't smell anywhere near as bad. More like fresh grass clippings. It's not as powerful as the fermented version, but it's still way better than nothing. But this is the most important bit. You absolutely must dilute this stuff before you use it. Straight undiluted weed tea will burn your plants to death. For fermented weed tea, dilute it 1 part tea to 10 parts water. So 1 litre of tea, add 10 litres of water. It should look like weak black tea or pale brown. For steep tea, 1 part tea to 5 parts water. For younger plants or seedlings, dilute it even more. 1 to 20 is much safer. And how to use it? You've got 2 options. First, a soil drench. Water your plants with it like normal. Pour it around the base, not on the leaves. Do this every 2 to 3 weeks during the growing season. Second, a foliar spray. Dilute it 1 to 20. Strain it really well and spray it on the leaves early morning or late evening, but never in the hot sun. Plants can absorb nutrients through their leaves. Do this every 2 weeks if you want, but it's optional. If the leaves turn brown at the tips, curl up, or the plant looks worse after feeding, then you know you've used too much. Water in the soil with loads of plain water just to dilute it, and don't feed for 2 weeks. Some plants are really hungry and some plants don't need much food at all. Heavy feeders that love weed tea are tomatoes, peppers, courgettes, pumpkins, squash, cucumbers, sweet corn, cabbages, broccoli and roses. Feed them every 2 weeks. For comfrey tea, anything that makes fruit, like tomatoes, peppers, aubergines. For nettle tea, anything that needs big leaves, like your lettuce, spinach and kale. Plants that don't need it as much, root vegetables like carrots and beetroot. Too much nitrogen makes them grow loads of leaves, but tiny roots. So just use it once or twice. Peas and beans actually make their own nitrogen, so they don't need much feeding at all. Common problems with weed tea. Problem 1. It smells terrible. Move it further away from any living space and make sure you've got a lid, or switch it to the steep method. Problem 2. There's foam on the top. That's actually absolutely normal. This is the bacteria working away. Problem 3. It's not breaking down. Well, it could be too cold, so move it to a sunnier spot and give it some more time. Problem 4. Your plants look worse after using it. You didn't dilute it enough. Water it with loads of plain water to rinse it out, wait a few weeks, and then dilute it more next time. Problem 5. White mold on the top. Again, this is fine, but if there's black mold, I'd throw it away and start again to be safe. Some bonus tips. Tip 1. Add other stuff to your weed tea, like crushed eggshells for calcium, banana peels for potassium, or compost for helpful bacteria. Tip 2. There's some sludge left at the bottom after straining. You can mix that into your compost or dig that into your soil. It will break down absolutely fine. Tip 3. Collect weeds all year. In autumn and winter, dry nettles and comfrey and store them in bags. In early spring, you can still make tea with dried weeds. Tip 4. Combine your weed teas. Make nettle and comfrey batches separately, then mix them together when you dilute them for a more balanced fertiliser. A bottle of commercial fertiliser costs between £10 to £15 and lasts maybe a few months. I haven't bought fertiliser for years, so my savings are enormous. But it's more than just the financial savings. You're not supporting companies that dig up fertiliser or use loads of energy to make it. You're just using what's growing in your garden. The weeds take nutrients from the soil, you turn them into liquid gold, you feed your plants, the plants grow, and eventually they go back into the soil. Everything cycles and nothing is wasted. Weeds aren't the enemy, they're actually free nutrients just sitting there. Once you start seeing weeds as fertiliser factories, gardening becomes way more fun and exciting. I know this might seem weird if you've never done it before, but once you see how your plants respond, you will be hooked. Start small, make 1 bucket of tea and use it on your tomatoes. I guarantee you'll see the difference. Yeah, it'll smell. Your neighbours might complain. But when you're harvesting twice as many tomatoes as them, they'll want to know your secret. If you try this, drop a comment below with which weeds you've used. If this helped, hit the like button and subscribe for more gardening tips that won't cost you a penny. This also really helps me to grow this channel and create more content just like this for you. If you're ready to go deeper, you need to watch through my homemade garden inputs playlist. It's on the screen right now. Go and watch it.